Hi, Tracy here with BibleJournalingMinistries.com, and today I'm going to show you how to apply a paper napkin to your Bible. It's a really fun technique to use in your Bible, and it really can create some very beautiful effects easily. So what I'm going to use today is Art Basics Clear Gesso. This is, again, my second favorite gesso. It's just the kind that I have on hand. I'll be using a makeup sponge to apply that, as well as a Liquitex matte medium, basically fluid medium. I like this because it creates a nice matte design on top or cover on top, as opposed to the grittiness that you get from gesso. I'll be using a paper napkin, some scissors, paintbrush, as well as something to protect my Bible. So these are Ranger craft mats that I've cut up. I'm just going to stick one of these Ranger craft mats on this side, and then I will apply this one on this side so that I don't get anything on that page. That's about all I'll do for this one. I won't put a Ranger craft mat on the bottom. So whenever you have a paper towel, oftentimes they are going to come in multiple layers. This one has one layer, actually two layers, and one of them is printed on and the other side is not printed on. So what I have to do is I have to take these and separate them. The easiest way I have found to separate them is, if you don't mind cutting them, as soon as you get away from, I'm going to cut it here because I know I'm going to have to cut it anyway, so let's just make it easy on us. And let me just cut here on the edges. Since this one is, the design is only on this side, if I cut it here, it won't. It'll be easy to separate the layers. But if you have a design that you can't cut through, then I find if you just kind of nip the corner, so let's say this side here, and this part here is really like stuck together because they're, you know, somehow pressed together. I've found that if you can nip the end at least to where you start to see there's none of that stuff pressing down, you can often peel the layers off at that spot. You just have to mess around with it a little bit to, like, just run it in with your fingers a little bit to kind of get them to come off. Come on. We'll sit here all day and try to get this to come off. But you do have to separate them. There we go. Finally got it. It's like a miracle whenever that happens. And then you can just separate it. Some napkins are easy to separate and others are not easy. These extra napkins I just put to the side to use as cleanup or in other projects. And now I need to do the same thing over here and separate this napkin on this design. It should be easier now that I've cut it because it's not, and I can actually see it come up a little bit. Come on. It is the hardest thing whenever you're participating in a napkin swap, which is one of the reasons why I don't swap napkins with people, is if you have to separate them. And it just takes forever to separate napkins sometimes, especially these ones. Some napkins are easier than others to separate, but this one was a hard one. Where do you get napkins at? You can buy napkins at the dollar store. You can buy napkins basically anywhere that party supplies are available. Now, if I were to take this entire piece, this half piece, it would pretty much fit my Bible, so I could just use this piece. But I don't really want this word in there, so I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm just going to cut the design I want. And I think what I'd like to have is just trim all this off so we can see better. I think I would like to have this kind of come through here, and then I'd like to have this other butterfly in the picture as well. So right about here is where it's going to be done. I'm not going to worry too much about the edge because I can always trim off the edge later. What I'm really concerning myself with right now is just placement. I know that the actual design itself will be see-through. I'll be able to see some of these words through these words, but I don't really want to risk it too much, just in case I can't. So what I'll do is I'll take a pencil and just outline where I want to cut it. And since I want that butterfly to be in the actual design, it's going to be basically my edge. And everything else is going to have to go around that butterfly. So that'll work. Actually, this whole thing is going to work just fine. I might have to cut this edge just a little bit because there's a little white, which, you know, once you put it down, it's not a problem. It kind of fades off, but I don't like to have it in there, so I do trim up some. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is apply 2 coats of clear gesso to this page. One of the things that I do sometimes is I don't clean off my mat very good, so you can see that sometimes if you apply heat to paint that's already on there, that will activate it sometimes, and I don't really want to get this messed up because I work so hard on this design. So I'm going to switch this out. I have 2 layers of gesso. The reason why I use the gesso is because some of these napkins, they'll bleed through, and I don't want anything to bleed through on this page I worked so hard on back in January of 2017. So I am now going to apply 1 thin layer of gesso, lay this down where I want it, and then I'm going to apply a matte medium on top. So let's go ahead and get that done. When you're applying the gesso, this is pretty much the 3rd layer. You want a nice, I don't want to say thick, but it's definitely not as thin as what we were using. So it is wet, in other words, because you want that paper towel to soak up some of this gesso. So it is wet. It is not thin. It's not totally thick, but it's not thin either. Okay? Now, to apply the napkin, I want the flower right here. You can see a little bit of that design coming through the back from the other side. So this will be good because it's covering that up. Okay, and you just place it down where you want it. good, it didn't bleed through, which is awesome. But you do see some of the pigment coming up here from this napkin. And they do bleed through, so you have to be careful with them. If I wanted to, I could add some more of these flowers here. Maybe I'll do that. Why not? Maybe. No, I don't want to. Alright, so now that it's down, the next thing I want to do is take it off. Now, a lot of people will get it really sopping wet and just tear it. I'm not a fan of the tearing, but you certainly can. If you wanted to do that, you just, get a wet brush. Here, I'll do it for you. And just make it really wet, the edge of it. And that way it just tears, that napkin just tears right up. And it will tear where you want it to tear. See? But I just don't like it because I get these edges. And those edges I don't really care for, but if you like it, then keep it. Kind of gives it a nice feathery look, I suppose. I'm more of a cut girl myself, so I'm going to cut it. To cut it, I just flip the page over so I can see where I'm cutting. I cut right alongside the page, being careful not to actually cut the page. And then I get a nice clean line. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is add the layer of matte medium on top. If I were to put the gesso on, that would work just as fine. I don't prefer to have it so gritty, so I use a matte medium. So basically what I do with the matte medium, I just pour a little bit in my cup here. Not a lot, you don't need a lot. And you want to be careful because it's like glue, so if it sticks to the end of your cap, then you will have a hard time ever opening the lid again, which is fine because it does come out by squirting it out as well. Okay, so all I'm doing is swiping it on with this paintbrush. This paintbrush will never be able to be used again for anything besides this. So forget about using it in your watercolors or your acrylic painting. And this is just a cheap paintbrush that I picked up at the Michaels. They come in like these really big packs. So I will occasionally just buy one of those packs because I go through paintbrushes when I'm doing stuff like this. Now I can reuse this, and I do. But sometimes it gets to the point where it can't be reused, and then I move on to the next one. So just a thin layer of the matte medium on top is fine. Just make sure it's really wet and soaked through. So I'm going to go ahead and use these Heidi Swap stickers to basically put the word thrive over here to basically say that those who trust in their riches will fall, but the righteous will thrive like a green leaf. So I want the word thrive to be in here somewhere. I'm just going to take my stickers and place them, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some stickles. Stickles are like glitter glue. So this is a black diamond stickle, and it's basically glitter glue. And I'm going to go ahead and outline this, and maybe if I find other stickles that I want to use, I'll let you know which ones I use, because I'll probably want to pop out some yellow as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward so you don't have to watch me place stickers and stickle things onto this Bible page. I could even do one right there. For stickles, the best thing to do for them is to let them dry. So at this point, we're going to call this a wrap, and this is going to go ahead and dry, and these stickles will dry flat. I don't like to add heat to the stickles because I don't want to really bubble it up or create any kind of difference in the texture. I really like how it is right now. I've added some black stickles for some shiny diamond look on the butterfly. I've added some yellow stickles here for the center of the flowers and the leaves to kind of pop those out. The stickers I have here are just really thick, and they say thrive because that's what this verse is about. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I very hope so much that this napkin technique inspires you to go ahead and try napkins in your own Bible, and I would love to see your work over at our Facebook group. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.